Hello guys, welcome to this channel. As you know, we are solving the SQL questions from Leetcode. So till now, the questions from day 1 to day 8 are the video explanation you will find on the YouTube channel. Also, I will put the description link for those video solutions. So till now, we have solved the SQL questions from day 1 to day 9, and in this video, we are going to solve the last question from the day 9, that is question number 1158, market analysis 1. So this is the question, market analysis. As you can see, the question is marked as a medium. This can be important questions for your SQL interview. So let's see the question. As you can see, the table are given here: users, orders and items. For users table, user ID, join date and favorite brand. These are the columns, and user ID is the primary key for this table. This table has the information of users of online shopping website where users can sell and buy items. Next is orders table, which contains the information about orders, which contains order ID, order date, item ID, buyer ID, seller ID. And order ID is the primary key for this table, and item ID is the foreign key, which is the primary key from the items table, which contains the information about items with the item brand and item ID columns. So buyer ID and seller ID are foreign keys from the users table. So the requirement is like, write the SQL query to find for each user the join date and the number of orders they made as a buyer in 2019. So for each user means we have to select the user ID as a buyer ID, then the joining date of that user as a buyer, and the number of orders they made as a buyer in the 2019. That is, this is a filter condition. So as you can see, the example tables are here. You can see user ID with 1, 2, 3, 4, their corresponding joining date and their favorite brand is listed here. Orders table contains the order ID, order date, item ID, buyer ID and seller ID. And items table corresponding with the item ID and item brand. The user ID with 1, 2, 3, 4 are listed in the output table as a buyer ID. So buyer ID having ID 1, having the joining date as 2018 in the users table. So this is listed here, and as you can see, the buyer ID having ID 1, which is in the orders table as buyer ID. So there are two entries with the buyer ID 1. One is from 2019 and one is from 2018. So the final count of the orders will be 1 because the filter condition is given as 2019. And the next part, as you can see, the buyer ID having ID 3 and 4, their orders in 2019 are count 0 because buyer ID having 3 and 4 having the entries in orders table, you can see, but their order date is from the year 2018. So both marked as 0 in the orders in 2019 column. So let's write the SQL query. First of all, we will select the user from users table. Select user ID as, let me copy the output column name from the output table. So this is the alias buyer ID. Next is joining date, which is also from the user table. Joining date is as it is. There is no alias in the output table. And then the count of orders. So count of order ID. Count of order ID because the order ID is distinct whether the buyer ID is same. So with this we can find the count. So order ID. So as you can see, the different columns from different tables are here in the query. So I will use table alias. So user ID from user table, join date also from the user table, that is U, order ID from order table, that is O.order ID. I will write the from table users. So again let me copy from here, users U, left join, alias is O. The joining condition is user ID from user table is equal to the buyer ID from orders table, that is O.order buyer ID. So as you can see the question again, the filter condition we have given is 2019 only. Let's write the condition with the on only. So and we'll use year function to extract the year from the date. So I will use this column order date, and year should be equal to 2019. They have put the condition that we have to find this for each user. So for each user means we have to group it by something or some column. So which column can we group by it? So let's group by user ID from user table. One more point I want to highlight here is you can see buyer ID having ID 3 and 4. Their order count in 2019 are 0, but you can see the entries in the orders table with the buyer ID 3 and 4, but the year is 2018. So what if they have no entries of 2019 year? So for this we will put the 0 by default. So for this we are going to use the function if null. So if the count retrieves or count returns the value null, we will put it as 0. I will give it alias as from this expected output table only. Let's run the query. So you can see the result is accepted. Let's try to submit the query. Okay, the result is accepted.